I'm Angelique. I am currently living in Kuwait, where I've been living for the past almost 2 decades. I'm ethnically from India, which is where I was born in Bombay, but I grew up in Oman. And so, what's unique about Kuwait is it is a very trends oriented market, it's a beauty oriented market, and um, cosmetic procedures like Botox and fillers are very popular over here. So, I think it's been an interesting market for me to talk about face yoga. I'm also a yoga teacher. So I started teaching yoga full time 2 years ago. Incidentally, when I graduated from FIM. So before that, I've worked in different fields from nonprofit management, animal welfare to positive psychology. And yes, I've been teaching face yoga and yoga full time for the past 2 years. And I think it's, courses like FIM, which really gave me the confidence to really jump right in, because if I'm not going to do it now, when am I going to, right? And so I think I studied FIM towards the end of the pandemic, and that gave me enough time to really focus on it more than I would have if I was working in a regular 9-to-5 job. I really used that to my benefit to go deeper into it. And so once the restrictions were lifted, it was a perfect time for me to jump right in and start teaching face yoga at different places. One of the reasons that I joined FIM, and I remember they asked me this in the interview or the application process, and I still stand by it today because it really makes the course stand out, is I believe that when you feel good, good things happen. And FIM makes you feel good. It's, of course, there is, the physical or the benefits of the physical practice in reducing and preventing, aging on your face and your neck. All that is there, yes. But more than that, it reduces stress. And that's something I think we've forgotten how to do. We all have stress. It's not going to change. It's there every day. And if you're experiencing stress every day, you also need to find some way to cope with that or to release stress on a daily basis. And I think FIM is a simple, effective method to do it. And because I teach yoga as well as face yoga, there have been many women who have joined my face yoga classes before doing any yoga. And they've stuck with FIM because they find that element of stress relief in it, which draws people to general yoga, don't they? Many people go to yoga because you want to calm down and relax. And the fact that FIM can meet that, I think is important. And I think it's very noteworthy. In my workplace, I remember we used to go to the washroom, us ladies. and when you're doing your makeup in the morning or doing your skincare together, right? You tend to talk about what's happening and, I'm seeing a wrinkle here or there. And so we just happened to look up on Instagram, is there something there for face yoga? And we found a lot of face exercises in general, right? Eventually we discovered FIM. We found Fumiko's page and then FIM. And so then we started, just watching her videos on YouTube. We would try some of the methods, right? Mainly the forehead lift. And it felt good, right? So that really, that's how I found Fumiko and FIM. 2018 this was, and then 2020 is when I applied for the teacher certification and I got accepted, yes. It was such a well-paced course. It wasn't rushed. And I think that is so important because there's so many yoga courses in general out there, which are like a whirlpool. In 30 days, you have to certify. And that doesn't give you enough time to understand the concept and to practice it on your own body, on your own self, your mind. And so with FIM, what I liked is that I could really work on each area of my face, observing how it affects my mood, my mental condition, my physical energy levels. And I think that has made it such a successful modality for me to learn and also teach. Just before I got accepted into the TCC, the FIM teacher training program, me and my mother, who had done the boot camp together, and she had very deep 11 lines. And that's because she's a teacher and she's chronically frowning. And so just doing only the first 1 week, the forehead module, and then also some of the eye module, that helped her reduce the lines significantly. And she was surprised, that she wasn't aware of the fact that she was also having a low-key headache or a migraine. It was always there in the background, and she noticed, oh, that's not there. So to see this help my mother, first of all, help me, and my mother, it just reaches you at a deeper level when someone who you love experiences something like this. And I thought, this is something that, I would love to teach. I want more women to be able to experience this, that really, self-care is in their hands, literally in your hands. It's the greatest tool that we have in FYM. Yes, I know we have other, aids as well, but that's all you need. You just need your hands and yourself and your time. You're self-sufficient. It's so empowering in that way. And so that's what drove me to want to share this with women in my life, my friends, my relatives. Many of them were not aware of their posture and how it impacts their mood. Right? So when you're slouching over, the fact that you can't breathe as well as completely, and that you're straining your neck, your shoulders, a compromised posture, you naturally tend to frown. And just correcting the posture in the beginning of class, just that warm-up segment, self-awareness, help them realize that, oh, in this moment, I can, I don't have to stress so much, right? I can let go, I can relax. So I think in terms of emotion, it helped them be more self-aware of how the posture, the body, the mind, and your feelings. Your body, your thoughts, and your feelings are connected. In terms of aesthetics, oh, so many, I don't have to tell you. Double chins have reduced, under eye bags have reduced, lines over here and the crow's feet have reduced. One of the ladies, she wanted to volumize her cheeks and she didn't want to do anything cosmetic. No fillers, nothing unnatural. She wanted to do something really organic and natural. She stuck to the practice and it took her, I think, 2.5 months. And she was so amazed when she began to see some volume and she could feel her muscles, which she couldn't earlier. And I remember when she came to class and we show her, we show all these anatomy, pictures of the face and the muscles. And I could tell she wasn't really sold with the concept, but she wanted to try. And I said, that's all right. I don't need you to believe. It's perfectly fine. Try it. If you can feel it, can you feel a bit of the muscle? Then you will see the results one day, right? And she stuck to it. And I don't have a before after pictures now, and I don't have permission to share them. But really, you could see that when she smiles, she has these cheeks, So that was an aha moment for her that this works. When I graduated, I remember we were still towards the end of lockdown, and everything had to be online. This is November 2021. So I started speaking to a few studios, and I booked my first workshop in Jan 2022, so just 2 months after graduation, and it got sold out completely. So they scheduled the second one in the same month. So I give 2 workshops in Jan, one for the upper face and one for the lower face and the neck. And this was online. These were 1 hour, 2-hour workshops. So that's how I started. And Kuwait is a small place, word of mouth spreads. And so the community came to know there's something called face yoga, what's happening. There was a buzz created. I applied at another studio then because I wanted to teach this on a consistent basis so women can keep up with their practice. And I've been teaching there for the past 2 years. And I give a weekly class there. So that's one format I teach. I also do private. So in Feb, as a result of all of this, it's wonderful how doors open. I booked my first private program, and this is so close to my heart. It was for 2 women who are between their 30s and their 40s, and for their mother, who is 80 years old. And they wanted to do face yoga together. I still tear up when I think of it. And I was so honored and humbled, to be able to share this practice with them, because they just wanted something that their mother can do, which doesn't require a lot of physical exertion, is comfortable enough, right? Relaxes her, and is also fun, because they would see my videos on Instagram, I think, and see me making all these funny faces. And it seemed like such a light-hearted way to bond, and de-stress. So yes, that's when I started my private practice with these 2 lovely women and their mother. After that, I started getting inquiries from corporates for Women's Day. So Women's Day is celebrated here in March. And then in October, we have the Breast Cancer Awareness Month that we observe. So for both those months, I've been invited by corporates, offices over here, to teach face yoga to their women staff members. So I teach all levels. I did a private class just last week. And every few months I'm doing corporate classes. I think it helps people in the corporate world because to take mainstream yoga, it's very logistically and also culturally not suitable in this part of the world. But face yoga is so versatile. All you need are mirrors and a desk and a chair. And if you don't have mirrors, you can do it on a Zoom meeting where they can see their face just like now. You don't need any additional setup. You just need some time and you need will. You need to show up. For corporates, they want to see figures. And so I can't share the names of the corporates because, I'm under a non-disclosure agreement. But what I can share is on average, the workplaces where I've taught face yoga, and these are workshops that I do, have seen a reduction in stress level, approximately 30%, and up to 40% increase in their relaxation levels. So I do a before and after assessment to see, because it's ultimately an investment that they're making for their staff, for employee well-being and welfare. So they want to see what are the results beyond just the feedback, the verbal feedback. One of the things that, and this is a common question all students have when they sign up for any course, not just FYM, any self-care modality. When will I start making money, and can I make money off this? Right? And so the two things I want to talk about here. One is, I have always charged money because I believe it's a value that I'm giving to the community. This is a skill. There's a lot of knowledge that Fumiko and her team, all of you, have worked on for decades and put together in a package for us to learn. And I believe that when something is taught for free, always there is no value to it. So from day one, I started teaching, I would charge a fee. It's an investment that you're making for your self-care. I would only teach my friends and my close friends and my family as a gift from my heart, free, complimentary. And I'm not going to charge them, even if they insist. But otherwise, in terms of, in the community, I had a fee that I would charge. And within 8 months, I completely covered the investment that I had made on my TCC fees. I only have Instagram. And my followers are literally less than 300. This is a very word of mouth market that I operate in. And of course, the business, I love that FYM has a marketing and a business module, and that has great value. You don't need to wait until then. I don't even have a logo. If you're a good teacher, and I think FYM gives you all the skills that you need. I know this because once I started teaching, I became familiar with other methods, or students have tried other methods in, say, facial massage or facial exercise. And then they would try FYM with me, and they could see the difference, in the authenticity of the teachings work. And so you don't need anything else. You can just run with this. When I came out of the pandemic, and I'd stopped teaching, remember, during the pandemic, a lot of us stopped teaching, or we would only teach online. And teaching online was a struggle. Teaching general yoga online was a struggle, right? And so when coming out of the pandemic, I started teaching face yoga, and I started teaching meditation and breathing. These are the two modalities I focused on a lot. And so they did contribute a lot to my income. Within my primary sources of income, face yoga did play a huge role. So what I'm really passionate about is keeping FYM intact. I believe in keeping the integrity of methods the way it is, because if you change it, the protocol changes. But complementing it with Ayurvedic skincare. So that's something that I'm working on. It's a personal goal, because I think then women have all the tools they need. If you can make skin products, right, which are effective from your own kitchen using whatever natural ingredients are around you, plus you have a natural modality like face yoga to take care of your face and your neck. That's it. Power's in your hands. So that's something that it's a vision. Please do it. Please do it. This is a lifelong skill. And whatever the reason you may be joining it, if you stick to the practice, if you're dedicated to it, and it's so important, and face yoga, the way that the program is built, it gives you that time to really work with the methods. You will see results on your face. You will notice changes in your mood, in your posture. There are it is something to be experienced. And you go so much deeper into the fundamentals and the principles of the practice that you wouldn't do in a boot camp. You see, that you wouldn't do if you're looking at the exercises on YouTube, and they're all effective, of course. But really, this is knowledge that will stay with you for life. As you go through the years, you can teach it to your sisters, your daughters, your friends, your mothers. It's not a skill that it applies to everybody. So go for it. If you can, go for it. Don't stop.